You're listening to Best Forevers, a podcast for kindred spirits, a podcast that encourages you to love more on your friends and to further consider the issues that plague friendships. I'm Alysa Lucas, and when someone rings my doorbell, I'm like, what is this, the 80s? Who's coming to my house, knocking on my door, and ringing my doorbell? But what if I told you when your doorbell rings, the person on the other side doesn't want to see you and is in fact running to their car so not to get caught by you? And what you find outside the door is a basket of wine and goodies on your porch. Sounds amazing, right? Well, this isn't just a quarantine-induced daydream. It's real life, and I'm living it with 300 plus new friends. So let me paint a picture. I'm relaxing on the couch, watching TV and scrolling on Facebook. You know, the usual. When I get a notification from my friend and friend of the podcast, Crystal, for an invite to a Facebook group called Sisterhood of the Traveling Wine. I'm like, okay, it's a play off Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, which is all about friendship, so you know I'm already hooked. Then I get into the group, and it turns out people around my town are gifting people wine for fun during the quarantine. So y'all, you know I geek out about friendship, but this one was a new one for me. I had never heard of this, and it is so much joy. So in today's episode, I chat with my new wine friend Colette about this group and how it's helped during lockdown, as well as share with you some of the thoughts from our other wine friends called Sisters or Wine Fairies. So let's go ahead and start with Colette. So I just thought maybe we could start with you, Colette, telling us a little bit about the Sisterhood of the Traveling Wine Group.
Well, full disclosure, I stole this group idea from a different group. A friend of mine had invited me to Sisterhood of the Traveling Wine Mid-Michigan.
Okay, yep.
Which was huge in scope and covered, everywhere from Saginaw to Clare, it seemed like, as far as like north to south. And there are thousands of people in that group. So wow. It was immediately overwhelming to me, but I loved the idea of it. Mm-hmm. And a couple of other friends were in it. And I just shot a text off to one of them and said, hey, I think I'm going to make a group for Mount Pleasant just for something smaller scale, something that was more manageable, that wasn't as overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And she said, yeah, definitely do that. That'd be so cool. So I've never made a Facebook group with any real energy involved. And I just did it at like 10:30 at night. And invited my friends because I thought, okay, maybe like 30 or 40 of us will get involved in this. And then we'll just have this little group that like delivers wine to each other. It'll be fun. And I honestly thought it'd be like a one-off thing. Yeah. Maybe twice. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the weekend, there were like 90 people in the group. And then a couple of days later, someone who had joined the group that I didn't know personally, she goes to my church, Kelly. Yeah. So the other moderator of the group, she was like, do you want some help? And I was totally out of my element. So I'm like, sure. Yeah. Come on down. Like, and it just kind of all of a sudden we're like, maybe we should cut it off at 400 because then we can start keeping a little bit better track. And so it just kind of exploded into this thing that I did not see coming at all.
So for listeners who might not know, I'm sure there's people who are listening who are like, yes, wine groups, we love them. Yes. And so can you tell us a little bit about what happens in a wine group?
So in this particular wine group, we are not discussing wine or its virtues or flavors that are, we aren't discussing bouquets or anything like that. This is not necessary. You don't have to be wine savvy to participate. You just have to, frankly, like alcohol a little bit. We aren't even, you don't even have to like wine. And that's the best part. Yeah. You can like seltzers or beers, or we have a lot of girls who like margaritas.
That's me.
Yes. Tito's is a very popular, I've noticed, in the group as well. So you find a person and you collect wine or beer or other alcohol or whatever. A lot of people do these kind of extravagant baskets.
They're amazing.
They are. And then you just drop it off on someone's porch, or you utilize your own children to do so, which I'm not sure about the legality of that, but I'm not gonna.
Let's not condone it, but
Right. I've done it, So, and then you just run, and you post pictures. You hope you don't get caught, but you also secretly love being caught. I think that's part of the fun too. For a lot of women, and so it's just this thing that we're doing for fun. I don't know anything about many of the women who are in the group because I don't know them outside of this group. And so that's actually really cool in a way. I don't know what your status is. I don't know, would we choose to be friends in another circumstance? You know? But this has been really cool because I don't actually care because we do have this one thing in common.
And that's what I tell people all the time. You only need one thing in common with people to make a connection. And if you like margaritas like me, then you can be my best friend.
Right. So exactly. We could talk about margaritas all day, So it's, it's just meant to be a bit of fun. And this is a weird time. I'm sure you've noticed.
Yes, absolutely.
And so when we started the group, we were in the midst of the pandemic and bored. I really thought, okay, everybody is so bored right now.
Yeah.
And what could be a fun way to just not be bored? This sounds like fun. I could get into this.
Yeah.
I was shocked to see it kind of develop, especially in the beginning there, into something a little bit different that I was ignorant to the idea that this was going to be something that made women feel less alone during a pandemic.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be wine. So
it does have this greater impact, right? So I'll share a little bit of my first wine story, and that is okay, well, first off, I label my stuff as anxious wine fairy because it makes me very nervous to go to people's houses.
But I love that you do that.
Just ignore me. Just ignore me.
Please do not look out the window.
But I have to say, the more times I've done it, the easier it was. And I actually got busted by 2 dogs and their mom the last time. And it was really funny. And we waved at each other. And it was super fun. But I have to tell you, so I'm part of this group. And you see people's with the wine they're dropping off. Or the margaritas or the beer. And some people are dropping off pop for people, who don't drink alcohol. Which I just like this idea of people being surprised. It's coming, but when,
Yes.
And so the first week, and now we're moving into, is this week 3? We're almost to week 4.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So the very first week, Friday, I hadn't yet been wined. And so there's these threads each day, who's been wined, who hasn't, drop your address, what do you like, those sorts of things. And there's a doorbell. And I was like, I wonder if that's my package from, wherever I ordered something from. And I open it, and it's this amazing package. It has Sudoku in it, which I am now obsessed with. So that person really got me hooked on it. And it had all these just different fun things, candy and the wine. And I bring it in. And by the time I come back out to my couch to sit down, there's another knock on my door. I got wined 5 times on that first Friday because people saw that I hadn't been wined yet. And the idea is that people just pick people. And I was crying by the end of it because I was I just have this table full of all these goodies that people put together for someone else just to have some fun for themselves and make someone else's day. And my cats are investigating everything. I have this picture of them on there where's the kitty wine, And it was just so wonderful. And it's just one of those things where the surprise and just everyone's kindness and their giving nature and wanting to reach out to people is it your birthday? People did something for stepmoms on Mother's Day who's single or those sorts of things. And I was just this is amazing. You're right. We don't know much about each other otherwise. And maybe if we knew more, we wouldn't be friends, but this is the thing that's bringing us all together. And isn't that awesome?
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Facebook is an interesting platform on its own. I mean, one of the things I've always struggled with Facebook is people will say things to each other behind a computer screen that they would never say to their face over a cup of coffee.
Yep, absolutely.
You know? And so I love that there's this little piece of Facebook that is just about thinking about someone else simply in a way of how can I make their day better? Not does this person deserve it? Do I agree with this person politically or ethically or religiously? There's this little weird tiny piece of Facebook that is this person likes margaritas and I like margaritas, so I'm going to make them a basket. Or this person is a nurse and I love nurses.
Yep.
You know, that has been so, honestly, it's like the one reason I still have Facebook at this point. So, because it's refreshing to kind of get to experience like actual connection with other people, like inside of this community using, you know, a social media platform.
Yeah. And it's funny because I got busted by 2 dogs, and I realized as I was driving away, every house I've been to so far, dogs were barking at me. So I posted in the group, show me the dogs that are welcoming us to your houses to drop off wine. And there was like 100, everyone has dogs and cats. And I'm like, I just want to see everyone's dogs and cats too. Can we drink wine and just look at pictures of each other's cats and dogs?
And it was great. People were so excited to show off their pets. I'm like, this is awesome. So, and pets, you know, honestly, like, are they really that polarizing? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no.
I can appreciate a cute dog. I don't have one, but I can appreciate that there are many, many cute puppers in the world.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And so you went in, you're like, I don't know how to make a Facebook group. You thought it might be like a one-off, right? So
just a quick, simple thing, you know.
And now there's almost, there was a cutoff at 400, so to manage it. So there's over 350 current members. So what is your reaction to how active this group is?
It's a little mind-boggling. And occasionally overwhelming. And that is where I'm so thankful for Kelly, because she has the energy of like, I don't know what, the Energizer Bunny. She's a grade school teacher. She teaches 2nd grade. So she just is like, and she has kids. She has all this stuff going on. I don't know when she sleeps. And so, you know, she'll say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm just sitting there like, yes, do that. That sounds great. So in the beginning, people were like, thank you so much for starting this group. And I was like, I opened the group, but Kelly really took it like next level.
Yeah. Yeah. So major shout out to Kelly for the themes and checking in with people every week to be sure everyone's been wined. And one of the things is, I always think about that, is that there's someone who had an idea, and that was you, to go from this mid-Michigan large group to something more manageable. And what it does is you created the space, and then it's the members and the other people like Kelly who sort of run with it and create the atmosphere, and it's a positive atmosphere. It's a, let's get each other some wine.
So that's been really good too. And in the beginning, I was worried about, what if people don't get wined? What if this happens? What if we have this or that going on? But I mean, there's been so little of that concern that's actually taken place. People are really good. The sisters are really good at hunting down those other sisters. So, and you know, we've got the 350 members. I would say on average a week, we have 165 like actively participating individuals. And a lot of people, it's so funny because I'm learning so much. You know, women bring an interesting energy to friendship.
Mm-hmm.
We love friendship and connecting with people. I think everyone probably does. Women do it differently. I don't think the Brotherhood of the Barley or whatever took off after.
I did see that a men's group started, but there's something about putting together a nicely beautiful basket of goodies that just sets our hearts on fire.
Right. Exactly. So, but one thing I've had, I was surprised. We still have this thing inside of us that says, what if this isn't good enough?
Oh yeah.
What if I can't afford to do this thing this way? And so that has been something for me personally that I've tried really hard to calm inside of the group. That's one thing that we are not going to put people in situations where they feel like they need to spend, 50% of their family's grocery budget on a wine basket in order to participate in the group. We have people who have asked me, I need to sit out this week because I'm not going to be in town, or I just need to sit out. Am I going to get kicked out? No, is my short answer to that. I'm not in the business of kicking people out. If we have like a really inactive member, like say they joined and they've never made a post and we need to clear space, that would be different. But it's interesting how we do women. We take this thing and we're so excited, and then there's this added element of being worried almost. And so it's like my own little personal tiny mission inside of this group is to just remind people that a Post-it note stuck to the top of a bottle of wine, is just as great an act of kindness as if you're someone who, has a closet full of baskets. You've been waiting for your moment, and here it is.
Time to get rid of my gift bags.
And it's so great because the other thing too, so I shop Ulta like it's a religion. I'm not going to lie. And they send so many deluxe samples and products and stuff. And I've seen, I know these masks. I have them too. And I'm like, this is such a good idea because I have so much stuff. And I used to be able to just give it away.
Yeah.
Because I would see people at, church, or people were actually in the office or whatever. And so I'm like, oh, I bet somebody would really like this, or, oh, finally.
Yeah.
Finally a reason for all this mascara sample, stockpile. So I've seen people do that, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And then the little extra things, like these little, like your Sudoku, or
I was like, what? And now I'm just like doing it all every day.
So it makes me want to, it's giving me ideas. Like I could put, because, I'm not artistic, but I like to do things with my hands. You know what I mean? So I'm like, so even just hearing that, it's giving me ideas, and people have such great ideas, like the puzzle thing this week.
Yeah, so it's like we take different pictures of part of our basket. We post it way before we would deliver it, and then the person who gets it has to go back and figure out who got it for them. I love that. And I'm like, all right, so what puzzles have I done that I can then regift? Because how many times am I going to do this particular puzzle, especially when it was hard as heck?
Right. Pretty much never. I've got this Harry Potter puzzle that I'm like, someone's getting stuck with this.
And someone else is like, stuck. You just made my year.
Right. It's cool. It's neat to see people just get excited and get these ideas. And I think it gives some opportunity to focus on something that is simple.
Yes.
And fun, and takes away some stress. It sounds so stupid, but it's checking out just like any other
escape
hobby. Right.
Yeah. I watch a lot of television. That's how I escape. And you talked about you buy at Ulta. I love notebooks, school supplies, and other things like that. So it's like, I got boxes of pens and other things that I'm like, I bet people out there would love it. And it's something that's like, even for me, I have these items from people, and it's I love it, but then it's also like, here's some things that I've had, and there's something about being able to let go of some of the things that you have that helps you let go of some of that stress as well.
Definitely.
What has been your favorite moment of the group so far?
There was this moment, and I think I actually went live because of it one night, where someone had posted the basket they got, and they just mentioned inside of their post that they live by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 little kids. Well, they're not that little. They're 14. They would be appalled if they heard me say that.
They're always little to you.
Yes. I have 2 kids. I have a significant other who lives in Traverse City. And so during the stay-home order, we were following the construct of that order. So we didn't see each other. So being a single mom, kids are great, and I was not alone, but they're being comforted, they're being reassured, you know what I'm saying? So the exchange is different. So someone had posted that they lived alone, and I thought, something so simple, like this little piece of humanity came and landed on our front doorstep.
Yeah.
And that has been my favorite moment about all of this, has been seeing the kindness and the humanity play out. When this all started, and anytime anything chaotic happens, I think about Mr. Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
And look for the helpers.
Yeah.
And I know it's just wine.
It's never just wine.
Right. So it could be a really good wine, so there's that. It's wine, but it's still, we're helping, right? We're reminding people that we are still here, friendship wasn't canceled.
Yeah.
And so that honestly was my favorite moment. I was so proud of the women in the group for doing these things and bringing some happiness and that little bit of excitement, when you're first opening your bag or going through the basket, knowing that someone listened, read your post, and then actively sought out things that you said that you liked. Just having that's the thing that I've been most proud of watching through this entire crazy experience.
And I do have to say, as someone who is single, so I'm here with my 2 cats and my dog, but I've been by myself with just a few trips to run errands or, that sort of thing. I've been by myself since March 10th. So,
that's a significant length of time.
It is. And I'm going to get something you said tattooed on me. Friendship wasn't canceled, and it never will be. Oh my gosh.
So that's the biggest thing, we're all still here. And that was so neat. It was these reminders, while we're all kind of holed up in our homes, afraid of each other. I mean, if we're being honest, you could have the virus, you could have this, you could have that. And, coming into another season of, total unrest, in different ways. And still kind of having this one space, just continuously remind people, I think that you're not alone is invaluable, whether it's attached to a basket, or a gift bag, or, was it Winking Owl, the Aldi? These Aldi people are.
So well, that's the thing. The shift shoppers know what's up.
It's so great. I love how they're commenting, is this for your wine group? I found this. And I love it. Where was I? I was at Meijer, and I was buying, they have these fruit Scottos. Someone had given me one, and it was so good. It was adult Kool-Aid, but I still felt fancy. So, which is important, got out the wine glass and everything. And this gentleman behind me, he said, he watched me pull out a couple of bottles, and then he got to the 4th or 5th one. He was like, "Oh, my wife does that." And I knew, I was I assumed he was talking about the wine group, but I guess he could have been like, buys a lot of wine, you know.
No, I think it was a wink, wink, sisterhood, wine fairies sort of situation.
It's great. I mean, even husbands are like, oh, here comes your wine delivery. So,
well, you mentioned earlier kids dropping off wine. Yes. I see husbands doing it too, and I'm like, dang it, I really missed the opportunity to get married and have kids because I'm so anxious about dropping off wine at people's houses.
Right, you could be totally, just like your editor, hire it out. You know, I'll give you, here's a candy box.
Random person do it for me.
I'm not sure if that's totally in the spirit of the sisterhood, but we are the bosses of ourselves. So,
I'm getting... Every time I do it, I'm feeling more comfortable doing it. So
this is good, Alysa, because like you're getting something out of it too, not just even the act of kindness. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself in a situation that would otherwise be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I appreciate that because, you know, there are some things, and especially going into quarantine has increased my anxiety more, but that there was something that I wanted more than my anxiety wanted, so to speak, that I was going to like try to push through.
Wow.
But I do sign all of my cards, Anxious Wine Fairy.
Which is so great. And I think, I know I've seen them because people were very encouraging, you know, and so that's been something neat to watch too. People are encouraging each other, you know, and reassuring each other. Just tonight someone posted, you know, I see a lot of the baskets that look super extravagant. I commented, but a bunch of people commented, you know, before I did and just said, hey, like the one of the best things I received was this heartfelt note and a bottle of wine. Yeah. And that, you know, was so meaningful to me. So just these little small things.
Certainly people do things in different ways. Also, you know, we all have our own style of doing things. And so that's certainly something that we can see. But you're absolutely right. When I posted that I was feeling anxious, I think there was like 40 comments on that thread where people were encouraging me. And so one of the things that we've talked about here is how women do friendship. And I talk about that on the podcast, that a friendship is meaningful. I think we often sort of hold up women's friendship more so than men's. I love to see men's friendship. We want to talk about that more. But one of the things that I talk about in the podcast and in my classroom is that a lot of times girls and women are socialized not to support each other. And so I think that can be true, but I also think it's a stereotype. And this is certainly a group that has sort of slayed that stereotype, so to speak, by doing all these things for each other, whether it be in the Facebook group or a bottle of margarita mix and tequila on my front doorstep.
Right. So, and that's been great to see too, because I do think you're right. I think sometimes we feel like we're pitted against each other, or there's this competition, or, I mean, because there's so much pressure to be all of these things. You kind of hit on it when you mentioned like not being married or having kids. That's a huge thing. Huge. Careers, huge thing. I mean, it's so crazy how, and we all feel like we have to justify our choices, right? We have to justify ourselves. But I'm not seeing that, you know, inside of this group. It's so great. Nobody's like, well, I'm a mom, or, well, I'm not a mom. You know, it's just like, oh, I like that too. Or, oh, that's so cute. Or where did you find this? Or, you know, Jessica is another one in our group. I won't say her last name because
that's fine. Yeah,
that feels weird. But she makes these hilarious, like, stemless wine glasses with her Cricut. Yeah. And I had posted, like, seriously, who's making these? And she got so many orders. I said, I'm so sorry. Like, should I not have done that? And she's like, oh no, I never would have called myself out if I wasn't looking to make some side business, I think she said. So, it's just been cool, like, to see, cause like wine is unifying.
Yeah. And I love it because even again, if you don't drink wine, people are still included. So it's this inclusive, supportive group. And I did see those wine glasses. And if she has a side hustle, Jessica, I'm coming for you because I would like some.
Like she's on it. Like, what do you want on that stemless wine glass because she can make it happen. So it's been cool. And just seeing everybody's creativity and things that they've done. There's like koozies. Why are they called koozies?
I have no idea.
As an aside, but people are making those. It's been really neat to see. So I did not anticipate this at all, but I'm really glad that it happened.
Yeah, me too, Colette, me too. And we're not the only ones excited about the group. I talked to some of the other sisters or the wine fairies, right? Allie shared with me her thoughts about the group. She said, for me, one of the most important things to come out of this group was a sense of purpose to do something that made people feel so happy. I posted about it Sunday or Monday night, but I was having a rough day. I mean, it's been rough however many weeks, but that's another story. And seeing the posts over and over again of pictures of people's wine fairy gifts energized me and got me out of the house. One of my love languages is acts of service, which I interpret this to be. On a day where I may normally sit with anxiety until bedtime, I had something that would give me immediate joy just by spending $10 on someone. And I went to bed that night with less stress than I have in a long time. I work in a female-dominated field, and I'm not getting that crucial female social interaction that I need right now. I'm planning a wedding during COVID-19, and I don't know if it will be what I imagine. My partner is a first responder who has to be on standby for protests. I have these interruptions to my life that are the same and at the same time different for every person in this group right now. And my coping skills are limited because quarantine. So to have joy literally in my face every time I open my phone and to plan a little gift bag that someone then posts about are new, meaningful ways to cope. We have so many new experiences with this virus, and this is one of them. Plus, I've met so many women that live within a half mile of me that I didn't even know were there. How cool is that? So joining the group has been fun for a lot of the wine fairies, like Shannon, who said, quote, I thought, what a great way to show some positivity in a time of craziness. And for Alyssa, who's new to the area, quote, to potentially making friends that last outside the group since I'm fairly new as a townie here. And of course, she says, after quarantine ends. And I love this reason from Gabrielle about joining. Quote, I was invited by a dear friend and didn't have the heart to say no, LOL. But there are many benefits, including me working through my anxiety, and Allie talked about her anxiety as well. But there's so much more. Alyssa said, I love how positive and uplifting people have been. This is the only group where there's no drama and you can feel the genuine happiness and positivity from people. It really makes the whole quarantine thing a little less scary. And Gabrielle's got the whole family in on it. I love this. Quote, I absolutely adore being a wine fairy. My 13-year-old son is the delivery boy, and I'm the designer and getaway driver. My aunt and grandma have even gotten on the action by sending little trinkets they have found to go in the bags. And that is awesome. And I really need your son to help me out with the deliveries, Gabrielle. Another sister, Jadakin, said, I love to see all the gift baskets, making someone's day feel great. It makes me feel like I'm a part of something special. And finally, Shannon said, I enjoy putting baskets together. It's a creative outlet for me. Sometimes I'm able to be elaborate, other times not so much. But I know that any gift is appreciated here. It makes me feel good to help brighten someone's day. I love this. Alyssa is finding new friends, which can be so hard to do, especially as adults, and a double especially during quarantine. Gabrielle is shy, and having the connection is helpful, and it's just about making everyone feel better. And I spoke with just 6 women total for this episode out of 350 wine fairies in this one particular group, which is a spin-off of a Mid-Michigan group. And the reasons for being part of the group might be different, but it comes down to the kindness, the impact, and as Colette said in her interview, the humanity. Alyssa said, honestly, shopping for other people has been my favorite. It gives me a chance to make someone smile, potentially a stranger who maybe doesn't have a whole lot to smile about right now. I have the power to make someone's whole day a lot brighter. And Shannon said, definitely receiving a heartfelt thank you from a stranger who's had a bit of a hard time. I didn't know. I wouldn't have known. That's the best part, knowing you can make an impact on someone you have never met. I'm just happy to be a part of it. Everyone seems to have fun and are appreciative. I really feel the sisterhood vibe in this group. The world needs more of it. And I'm also glad to be part of this wine group. But it was all new to me. I love it. It gets at love languages, like gifts, obviously. I was wine 5 times in one day and was crying about all these goodies and kindness that ended up on my porch, right? It's service. You're going out and helping other people, making their day. And obviously with notes and with the support in the group, you even get words of affirmation. What a cool friendship piece of life. So have you been part of one of these groups? Because like I said, I've never heard of it. In what other ways have you been connecting with people during quarantine? As usual, tell me everything. You can let me know on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at bestforeverspod, and you can email me at bestforeverspod@gmail.com. I'll be highlighting some more ways that people are creative during quarantine that we can also do when we're not in quarantine. So stay tuned. And so until next time, friends, think about being a wine fairy for current friends or maybe some new friends, because without our friends, who'd we be? Thanks for listening to Best Forevers. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and of course, share with a friend. Please be sure to follow Best Forevers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Best Forevers Pod, and I'm at Dr. Alysa Lucas on Twitter. You can always find the podcast webpage for more information at bestforeverspod.com, and share your stories of friendship by emailing me at bestforeverspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the movement to love on our friends more, check out the podcast on patreon.com/bestforeverspod. Now, friends, check out this recommended podcast that you must get in your ear holes immediately.
Hey, I'm Shar.
And I'm Kelly.
And this is Buddy.
And together we host Drinking and Screaming.
We're a new horror discussion podcast based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, where each episode we pair a new cocktail with our movie of the week.
For instance, I'm pairing this ad with just a shot of tequila. You know, because most ads are horrible.
With Drinking and Screaming, you'll find yourself pulled into a new horror film to discuss and a new cocktail to try every week.
Every episode is laced with great soundtracks, theme breakdowns, production trivia, Char's bad drinks, and so much more.
What?
I said clips from the movie.
New episodes every week. Join in on the spoops. Drinking and Screaming, wherever podcasts are found.
I give this ad a 5 out of 10.
You know, we don't rate the movies.
5 out of 10.